managers, what is one of the biggest challenges or more common frustrations that you tend to encounter in your hiring process? One that I often hear is not getting enough resumes and not getting the right resumes. If this is a challenge that you tend to deal with and you would like some tips, stay tuned in, keep watching. Also, real quick, I did do one of my Empower Hour topic sessions on this, but the audio was messed up for the first 5 minutes, so I'm sorry about that. I thought I would hop on and do another video pre-recorded so that you don't miss out on the content. I'm Amy Miller. I'm a recruiter, author, speaker, and hiring coach and consultant. I love helping leaders in their hiring process, make improvements, and of course, ultimately, make lasting hires with confidence. That's what it's all about. So, okay, at the start of the process, you got to have resumes. In order to start the interviewing process, you have to have candidates. So what do you do when you're not getting enough resumes or you're not getting the right resumes? As I often say, the answer to the problem is in the problem. So let's focus on the problem. What is the problem? Okay, we're not getting enough resumes or we're not getting quality resumes. But now let's dig deeper. The answer, the solution is in the problem. We want to get curious about why. So why might that be? Whether you're working with your internal recruiting team or a few external recruiters, think about how your communication has been with that recruiter. Communication, let's talk about that for just a moment. Effective communication is challenging for so many reasons. One is if you stop and think about it, how often do we say what it is we actually mean? We know what we mean in our heads, but we don't often very well communicate that to others, and that could be for many reasons. It could be out of fear, it could be just out of an assumption. It's never good to assume, but maybe we think that the other person knows what we're talking about. So maybe you do connect with your recruiter at the start of your search and you give them 15-20 minutes on the phone and you say, hey, this is what I'm looking for, this is what we need in the candidate profile. But even when you do feel like you say what you mean and you take good care to effectively communicate, the other challenge with communication, one of them, is that we're all coming to the same situation with our own unique perspectives that are derived from our own unique experiences. So we're going to see things differently. And also, we don't always pick up and absorb all of the information fully the first time that we hear it. This is one reason why we have to see the advertisement multiple times before we have any idea what the product is. So just because even when we do feel like we do effectively communicate, it may not always be fully received. So maybe you did communicate well, but maybe it could be improved. So another thing I often say, you've probably heard me talk about before if you watch my videos, is that taking time creates time. So whenever you are experiencing this challenge where you're not getting the right resumes or you're not getting enough resumes, reach back out to your recruiter and have a conversation with them. Share with them if you're not getting the right resumes. Let them know why this candidate is not a fit, and ask them what they saw in that candidate resume that made them endorse them, made them go ahead and present them. Giving your recruiter time is later going to save you time, because otherwise they are going to continue likely sending you candidates that are not a fit. Maybe some are, maybe some aren't. And anytime you are reviewing a resume, opening an email that's not presenting the right candidate, that's time distracting you away from other areas that you could be focusing on. So it's not good use of your time. So you want to go ahead, maybe take that extra 15 minutes to circle back with your recruiter to make sure that you guys are actually connecting there. Another thing that you want to do that can really help you ensure that you get more of the quality resumes that you're looking for with the experience, the background that you're looking for, is to tell the recruiter exactly what you're looking for. A lot of times we leave out details. Again, I don't know if we're assuming that we think that the other person is in our heads and knows what we mean, but we don't. Because again, we're all coming with our own unique perspective. So I've had this happen so many times and it always backfires. And what will happen is a hiring manager will say at the start of the search, they connect with me on the phone, which I so appreciate, giving me the time to tell me what they're looking for, but they'll say that they're wide open as far as the candidate profile. And then I'll send them candidates that I think are strong and they won't even look at them. And then when I follow up to figure out, and try to understand why, well, they don't have this experience. Well, you said that you weren't requiring that experience. So say what you mean. Tell your recruiter exactly what it is you want, and trust that they will know if they need to go a little bit outside of the box. Of course, recruiters know how to hunt. We know how to do that. So you tell us the target profile, we're going to go hunt for that. But if we're not finding that, or we find somebody that has some of these boxes and they don't check all of the boxes, but they're still a good fit, we're still going to present them, and then you can decide. So we're not going to leave potentially good candidates on the table if they check some of the boxes and not all. I think that's a fear-based kind of thing, maybe, that hiring managers are thinking they're gonna miss out on potential quality candidates. But your recruiters are wasting time if they're waiting in a really big pool they're not going to find, if we don't have the more narrow our focus is, the more quickly and precisely we can hit the target, present the qualified candidate, those qualified resumes that you want. And in speaking with some companies, it's my understanding that depending on their process, the hiring manager may not always, if they're using their internal recruiting team, I don't think they always get on the phone, the hiring managers, and talk with their internal recruiters. And then they don't understand why they're not getting what they want. Well, just from looking at a job posting, this is not giving us enough information. You want to have that conversation. Nobody knows your story. So hiring manager, your story in your candidate profile and in your role is telling the story of the geography, what's happening in this territory, if it's sales, what you're looking for, why you need that kind of candidate. Maybe some of the challenges if the person in the role was not a fit before. Taking that time to paint a vivid picture, and it doesn't take that much time, and then a little bit more time to let your recruiter ask questions, because again, nobody knows your role better than you do, hiring manager, and what you're looking for and why. So the recruiter is going to have some gray areas because we're looking from the outside, kind of perspective. So give us a few minutes to ask some questions. And recruiters, if your recruiter's not doing this already, I always like to send my hiring manager a follow-up email. This is my understanding of what you're looking for in the profile. Here's just a recap with some bullet points on the criteria. So that way we're aligned. And this way, if I miss something, so I'm listening, I'm asking questions, I'm taking notes, I've got my form of all of my questions that I asked, but I'm still going to have questions. It almost always happens. So I send a recap, and I might still miss a detail or two. So then the hiring manager can follow back up, and then that way you're starting the search aligned. But if you start the search wide open, well, you're going to be wasting a lot of time, and your recruiter is going to be wasting a lot of time looking for candidates that are not truly what you want. And then further, with effective communication, this also ties into another tip that I strongly encourage hiring managers to practice during the interview process, is to follow the golden rule. Treat others, including your candidates and including your recruiters, how you want to be treated. Because think about it, who do you invest more time in? Who do you care more about delivering for, doing a good job for? Somebody that you know, or somebody that you've never spoken to? So, I'm always going to do my due diligence and give it my all, but I'm going to focus more time and energy to hiring managers who give me more time and energy. And your candidates are going to do the same thing. So you want to follow up with them throughout the process too. No communication is not, good communication. If you're not getting enough candidates, your recruiter may not be working very hard for you. Maybe they are, and sometimes that happens where it's just a slim talent pool in that geography. It's really hard for whatever reason. But if you give your recruiter time and you invest in them, they're going to work harder for you. They're going to go, the extra mile. So keep in touch with your recruiter throughout. You can give them even a follow-up voice text. Let them know if you want to move forward with a candidate. If they're not a good fit, let them know why. That'll help them better focus their time and energy and send you qualified candidates and more of them, because they want to deliver for you. All right, let's see what else. Okay, so if you're not getting enough resumes, or you're not getting the right resumes, think back to the start of the process and how your communication was at the start with your recruiter. Did you paint that ideal picture? Are you following up with them to give them feedback on candidates? This is a strong candidate. This is not a strong candidate. And if it seems like there's some disconnect there, get back on the phone with them. It's going to later save you time. Stay following up with them throughout the process, because also maybe your profile can change. I'm sure you've experienced this before, depending on your candidate pool. So maybe you get a bunch of qualified candidates that have the desired experience, whereas before you were a little bit more open, now that profile has narrowed. But a lot of times the hiring managers don't then communicate this to the recruiter, so we're still looking in a broader talent pool and wasting your time sending you resumes that you're not going to look at, and then wasting more time because we're following up with you, asking you for your feedback that we're not getting. So take that time to follow up, to relay any changes in the profile. Totally okay for changes to happen during the process. And so taking time creates time. Get curious. So take that time with your recruiter. If you're having a problem not getting the right resumes, not getting enough, get curious about why that is. Make sure that you're practicing effective communication. Make sure that you guys are in alignment with the profile and why. And follow the golden rule. Give your recruiter time. The more you invest in them, and it's just a little bit of time, that way they're focusing their time in an area where they can actually have an impact. You know, if you have 2 openings that this recruiter is working on for you, and then you fill 1 opening and then you don't communicate that to them, and they're still searching in that area, that's a lot of time wasted. I've had that happen multiple times too. So that's why I always like to stay in touch if I haven't heard anything from the hiring manager, following back up. But help us out, and then we're going to be better able to help you out. All right, thanks so much for watching. If you have a question, feel free to leave a comment. You can email me at amy@troikatalentacquisitions.com. And if you're having some challenges or areas that you'd like to improve your hiring process within your organization, feel free to reach out. I'd love to connect and see if I can help. Thanks for watching.